Hello, hello, and welcome to the Soul to Soul Reflexology Marketing Interview Series. I'm your host, Cassie Killey with On Point Holistic Marketing, and today I'm here with Karen Ball, who is a board-certified reflexologist who runs a clinical practice in Florida, as well as teaching across the U.S. and Canada. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So let's get started just by jumping in and having us tell us a little bit about your reflexology practice and the clients you help.
My reflexology practice at the moment?
Well, what it's been prior to COVID. And maybe what you see going forward is fine too.
Right. I have, my practice has morphed over the years. I started off like everybody else, just doing whatever I could and a little bit, but I got to working 5 days a week and I would see 5 or 6 people a day. And at the same time, I was starting to teach reflexology, and I started to feel the impact of just working constantly. I mean, I love it and I can do it. I have that kind of energy, but I know it's not good long-term to be only working. So I cut down to 3 days and increased my teaching and kind of worked like that. What I have been doing the last few years is seeing clients 2 days a week, and I would see 5 clients a day, and then also doing my teaching. My practice has been closed, though, since March of this year, 2020, and I am reopening it again on January 5th, 2021. And we'll see how it goes. I'm sending an e-blast out to all my clients. They're aware that I've been looking for a place and letting them know that I will be back in business beginning in January, and we'll see how that goes. Again, 2 days a week, and but I'll be seeing 4 clients a day now because I'm creating a much broader window in between clients. I want to have like a 2-hour break to really just make sure the place is really good and clean and sanitized before anybody comes back in.
Yeah, so many changes with how to run a safe practice these days. But yeah. Now, do you tend to have any kind of focus with the people you see, or do you see a general audience of whoever needs you?
Yeah. I've thought of that question myself sometimes because I never actually intentionally looked for a target market when I started out in reflexology. It wasn't something that was even talked about when I studied. However, years ago, I developed plantar fasciitis myself, and that was a big wake-up call. I hadn't really even learned about foot pain or anything when I studied. And I was able to do some research and work and really correct it within a pretty short period of time for myself. And at the same time, what happened, there was a chiropractor here in the United States who went through RAW, the Reflexology Association of America, looking for practitioners that wanted to participate in a study she was doing on chronic foot pain and peripheral neuropathy. And I volunteered and did that. And as part of the study, I worked on 2 people once a week for 6 months, a half-hour session. And again, that word kind of got out around that. So before I knew it, I was kind of like the go-to person if you had foot pain. Chronic foot pain, because I developed this protocol for working with foot pain, which included peripheral neuropathy and plantar fasciitis. So that was a big part of it. The last few years, though, I think a lot of my practice has morphed into women in the second half of their life, I would say. Some are still working, some are retired, but they're active in different things. And they've come to this place of realizing that a lot of the annoyances in their health, I'll put it that way, things they've been able to just sort of live with, they're recognizing that they're magnifying now and they don't want them to get worse,
Yes.
And so they come. You know, some of those people are people that are dealing with cancer too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so chronic foot pain, and for me, so much of the complaints that people come with have to do with their stress levels, their ability to manage stress in their life, and digestive issues.
Yes.
You know? So there's a lot of focus in there for me.
There is.
Yeah.
There's such common problems these days too. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And do you find that the people are coming to you because they are seeking out reflexology specifically, or are they like, and they're kind of looking, or is it your marketing that you're kind of getting to them and they're saying, oh, do you have a feel for like which type of people you tend to attract?
The people that are coming to me really are coming to try reflexology.
So they're new to it.
They could be new to it. They're going to try it because they've heard that it can help, or they're at the end of their rope. They don't know what else to do. Somebody has suggested it. Or if they're people who have received reflexology before in their travels or wherever they used to live, that sort of thing. But I don't get, I live in Florida and I'm required to have a massage license as well. So I do. And that license has to be on all my advertising. So I don't really get people that call very often for massage because I've just become known as a reflexologist. You know, when I moved to where I'm living now, and I moved here in 2003, I made it a point to put myself out as a reflexologist and not even mention massage. Right. And so it's that, you know, that Kevin Costner movie about the baseball, build the field and they'll come, that sort of thing.
Build the will come, yes.
Yeah. And that's what I did. And that's the thing I'm constantly stressing with students too, you know, like in Florida particularly, they'll put out their promotion and say they're licensed massage therapists and certified reflexologists. And I'll say, but you've just told me you want to do just reflexology. That's what you want to be known as. Stop saying you're a massage therapist and a reflexologist, you know? Mm-hmm. Put it out there what you want and people will come. They will.
That's great. I had somebody asking me the other day for a reflexologist somewhere in Tennessee, I believe it was. And I was looking, there wasn't anyone on Raw, and I went just to Google. And again, it was like well, there's nobody that looks like, that was my first thing, was I wanted someone who just did reflexology. And I was like, well, I can't find anybody that just does reflexology. So here are the people who do massage and reflexology, because it's hard to know when people, what is your main focus if you don't let them know that.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's great advice because that's exactly what I looked for.
Yeah.
Now, so you've been doing this for a long time. Do you feel like what you've done, your marketing has evolved over the years? Like, what have you learned that works best for you, and where you like to put your focus on attracting new clients?
I was thinking before we got together today that you might ask me that question. And I thought, oh, this will be interesting. And I'll preface it with saying you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to change with the times, not be attached to the way you've always done things. Because when I started out doing reflexology, and it was a long time ago, I only charged $25 for a session.
Oh, wow.
I used to say it was $12.50 for one foot and $12.50 for the other, you know? But in those days, I just took a little ad out. It was a magazine called Common Ground. It's very much like the Natural Awakenings ones that we have now. And that got me clients, right? Most people who advertise now through Natural Awakenings and that sort of a publication don't generally get that many clients, you know, so that doesn't seem to work now. But that was the primary way that I got clients, and then from referrals from those people too. What I've kind of gravitated more towards in the last few years is doing talks. I'll go to, it'll be either the library or a local yoga studio that likes to offer free classes. And so there's no charge for any of them, but I'll talk about stress and digestion or stress and sleep and the ways that people can combat that. And I will show them some really simple reflexology techniques that they can do on themselves. Just basically, some thumb walking and stopping, breathing, those sort of things. And then what I've done that has really worked well, I give people at the workshop or at the class a gift certificate for a 30-minute complimentary session.
Oh, wow.
It's only available to anybody in the class, the gathering, who is not a current client of mine, right? And on the back of it, it gives them the opportunity to upgrade it to an hour session or to an hour and a half session. And I give them a good price on that too. But I explain it in a way that, like I don't want, if there's 30 people there, I don't want 30 people to walk away with those and come because they just want a freebie. I say, look, if you think that reflexology is something that might help you with your, whatever, I don't want you to have to invest anything and take the risk and see if it's going to work for you, because I guarantee my work, and I do that. So if you would like to try that, you can do it. I'm happy to offer you this opportunity. Right?
That is a great position. I love that.
And it works. I would say 80% of the people upgrade it to an hour.
Oh, wow.
Some of them even higher, right? And of the people who come, a good 70% of those will then continue to come for more appointments.
That's outstanding. Do you get a feel like, does it depend on where the class is? Do you get many people returning them? Like how many people out of the class probably come?
Well, I'm thinking the last one I did was in January of 2020, and they had a maximum number of people we could have in the room, which was 35. And out of that group, there was, I think, 10, 12 people that came.
So that's really good.
Yeah, so I was really happy with that. And my inclination is to continue to do that. I'm a teacher. I love to talk, and I love to engage people in conversations like that. And what am I going to do now? At this point, if I was to do a class, the library here locally, libraries are not available for outside people to use right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not charging anything for it, I would prefer not to be paying rent on a space,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not quite sure how to do that. I think in terms of like being flexible with that, because I already have a clientele base, and I'm not looking to fill 5 days a week, I probably don't have to worry about it right now. But for, other people that are trying to really build their practice, they might do something through a Facebook meeting or a Zoom call.
Oh, definitely.
And, try to attract people to come into their practice that way. But I have always guaranteed my work. I don't guarantee, if somebody comes in and they have irritable bowel syndrome, I'm not going to guarantee they're going to leave cured of that. That would be ridiculous. But I guarantee people will feel better when they leave than when they came in. And we talk about it, beforehand, how they're feeling, what would they like to see result from the session, and then we discuss it,
Oh, that's a great way to prep your sessions. Yes. And then that helps set you up as the expert, and then it sets their mindset too.
It also eliminates the idea that I am going to cure them of their headaches. that one session is going to cure them of their headaches. Because then if I realize that that's what a person believes or thinks, I can really educate them again about what's all involved in causing a headache. We have to discover that, and there's always, I don't know where I got this from. I don't think I made this up, but I've always loved it, is that if you come in with a headache and you have a headache because you've been banging your head against the wall, I'll give you reflexology. Most likely you're going to leave without a headache. However, if you go home and bang your head against the wall again, you're going to get another headache,
Yes.
And so I'm not in control of what you do when you leave here, but, if you want to really examine what it is that's causing these headaches, many of these things can be eliminated in your life, and you'll see a difference. And reflexology will support those decisions.
That's great. Do you do these consultations before you start working on their feet, or are you kind of talking to them while you're working on them?
Before.
So it's all done before. Great.
Yeah. I encourage people to breathe, really, because if somebody really focuses on breathing, that's the portal to the inside of your body. And then you really start to feel yourself in a relaxed state. And that's new for some people. They go, wow, I didn't know I could relax like this,
Yes.
I encourage that. And that we can talk about things afterwards. And some people like to chat a little bit in the beginning, which is fine. I always say it's their nickel. If they want to talk through the whole thing, it's fine with me. They will get better relaxation and awareness from the session, though, if they can just focus in on themselves.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I want to make sure we talk a little bit about your marketing that I see very visibly as email marketing and your website. And I think probably a little bit of that is not just at your clients for your clinical practice, but as much as the reflexologists themselves. But I think does that help? Do you feel like all the education you're putting out there, you just always have such great content? Do you feel like that helps you with the clinical side?
Yes. And I hesitate for a bit because I have a couple of mailing lists. I have one mailing list that is directed towards more professionals, reflexologists, would-be reflexologists, massage therapists, people that are in the healing arts in some way. So my content towards them always has some sort of business aspect to it too. How they could take research, for example, and use that research to reach people in their community that suffer from whatever, and be able to help them, that sort of thing. Some of that content is also useful for my clients to hear, and maybe in a different tone. So I have a mailing list to my clients, and I would send them a newsletter once a month. And it was really more self-help stuff or information that I learned about how, not even reflexology, just different things that they can do to self-care, right? During this year, during the pandemic, what I did though is I increased my contact with my clients. So for months, I sent them something every week. And sometimes it might be me doing some little demo about how they could just do a little work on themselves, or anything like that, just to maintain contact, let them know that I was thinking about them. So, offered my availability anytime anybody needed to chat about anything. And some people would respond, some people don't, and some people would respond, and then I call them and just talk, and so it's different. And I think it's just the energy of everything, when you put out I'm an educator, right? So if I keep putting out education for people about self-help and really encouraging them to take care of themselves more, I think ultimately it will come back to me in some form. I mean, it's not my modus operandi, unfortunately. I sometimes I think it would have been very helpful if I really had a strong business education when I was younger, but I didn't. But here I am. I have supported myself since I've been 29 with reflexology.
Oh, wow. That's, yeah.
It's been okay.
You've done great.
It's worked.
You figured it all out.
Yeah.
I do love that advice though, about how you were able to stay connected with them. So it's not like the people have gone this whole time, even though they can't come see you in person, you're still present and providing value and keeping that connection going.
Yeah. And I missed them, I missed, it's interesting because during the first months of this pandemic, I felt great. I loved my time alone. I had signed up to take a very intensive accelerated course in something that just ended last month in November. So a lot of my days were consumed with study. So I was never bored. I never felt any stress level. I was up to my self-care like crazy. So I was feeling good. Since my schooling is finished, though, I'm realizing, I'm really starting to feel what people feel with being isolated from others, and not having that touch and just being able to sit close to somebody, and share a meal, I can feel it now,
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think we'll all be very grateful to be able to kind of resume all that
Yes.
connection that's not just virtual or at 6 feet distance outside.
Yeah. And I'm lucky. I live in Florida, so it gets chilly sometimes for us here, in the winter months, but I'm from Canada. I know what cold is, Most of the time we can sit outside even if we have something on, here. Yeah, so I am very fortunate.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, getting started with marketing, like with, again, the email and the website and things like that. Do you remember why or what you were thinking when you did it, and like how that changed your marketing dynamic at all?
Boy, I don't know what.
Question, but
Yeah, I don't know what really changed my mind, but I can tell you that I I do remember somebody gave me a computer, a laptop. It was before they were even called laptops. They were smaller. They're not like our tablets of today. They were like a laptop, this kind of thing. I didn't even know how to turn it on. And I thought, oh, this is not good. And I understood enough that I know I'm smart. I can learn to do all of this. The learning curve and the time it would take to do a lot of things that I wanted to do would take me away from what it is I love to do and what I'm good at doing. So I hired people.
there you go.
I have a wonderful web mistress that has created all my websites for me, and I have a virtual assistant that does a lot of things for me now too, and a videographer. And they're not on payroll, they're all contract people. So when I need them, they come and do jobs, and I pay them, and it's just great. And then I can stay focused on creating curriculum, so I can travel and teach, and focusing on what I can offer more to my clients, and that's what I like doing, and that's what I'm good at,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
So that's great that, yeah, you're able to find the people to help you out, and so you can focus on what you do well, and they can take care of the stuff that's
Right. And they get to earn some money, it keeps them in business too. I don't feel like I'm a Renaissance woman that I can do everything or even want to do everything. So,
Yes, because that's the thing, is a small, like when you're like when you're the business owner and the service provider and everything, you have a lot of hats that you can wear, need to
yeah,
wear oftentimes, unless you can do that. So yeah.
yeah. And I think when I started off, it was a little bit easier because social media and all the internet stuff is very time consuming, and I didn't have that to deal with there. And it was just, oh, yeah, I'm going to just create a little ad, and the magazine actually created it for me. I just gave them the text. That was easy, you know. Print up a business card. That was easy.
Mhm.
It's much more complicated now. And I think with reflexology, hopefully we have more younger people coming into the field now and who are more tech savvy than someone my age, where I wasn't born with it in my hand, you know. So
So you've trained a lot of reflexologists over the years, and in doing so, I'm guessing you get to know them as they're getting started in their businesses and see some of the common challenges. What's one of the bigger challenges you see people facing when they're trying to get started in growing their business?
whoa. Okay. The belief that people won't spend the money on themselves to come for reflexology, you know, that they won't spend the money or they can't afford to do it. And that somehow the reflexologists have to really learn to talk more about the value that they can offer to those people. Because if I use headaches again as an example, if you can help somebody to change their lifestyle patterns in their life that are creating the headaches, learn how to relax with reflexology, right? They're likely going to spend a whole lot less money on medications. They won't be missing work. They'll be able to enjoy their life more. There's a lot of value that they'll get out of it, and it can work. So I think that's a big thing.
That's
The
great.
other one is finding a way um, to me, building a practice is really about educating. It's educating the public as to the benefits, the value of reflexology, and then letting people know why you are the person to come to in your community, right? And so people struggle with doing that, especially when they see me, because I'm comfortable talking. So they go, I couldn't do a talk. Okay, there's lots of other ways that you can reach your community if you're not comfortable standing in front of a group of people. There's even ways that you can do talks that don't seem like a talk. An example is just to have uh, two people come and sit in a coffee shop with you and ask them what are the health issues that you deal with, and just have a conversation over a cup of coffee, right?
Oh yeah, so much easier than being up in front of people. It's like,
Right.
yes.
And when I would train teachers, I'd also say, I talk about in teaching, it's good to make sure you look at everybody, move around. If you're not comfortable doing that, you want to sit on a stool though, sit on a stool. It does, you have to make it all work for yourself. Maybe you have connections with your church or some local group of some sort that puts out publications, right? You could write something for them. There's so many ways that you can do it. You just have to identify that and put yourself out, because people really are eager to hear what you have to say. Publications are always looking for content. You know? These organizations are always looking for speakers. You know, there's just, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We do spend a lot of time talking about ways that they can reach people.
And do you have any tips, maybe for people who are kind of nervous about moving into that space of being an educator, to help them feel more confident with that? Because I do see that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't feel like they can do.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What would be my advice on that point? I really think that just what I said a minute ago, having a cup of coffee, even with just friends, a couple of friends, you know, and that is helpful. The other is to get together with one or two other people in a different field, but who are basically also in a similar situation, you know, and you can share your challenges. And it's interesting when somebody outside your field hears your issue or your problem, they often go, that's easy, you know what you could do? And you'll do the same for them, because it's a different perspective that you bring.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be really, really useful again, too, is just to do that.
Oh, that's a great idea. Because it's like once you're just a little bit removed and it's not your problem anymore, and you can help somebody else and they can see yours more clearly.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, you may be, another good way is really to get involved with your state and your national reflexology associations, the member associations, because they are there to help you and to support you. And you're working with people that are in the same profession as you are, who have gone through exactly what you've gone through, you know. And I know a lot of times people think that everyone in the bodywork community is so competitive. And that may be true within a town and within a community a little bit more. However, when you start dealing with people that are throughout your state and your country, the success of your business does not negatively impact theirs at all. In fact, it helps it, you know, the more that people are successful in that.
Yes. So speaking a little bit, because you're the president of the Florida Association of Reflexologists,
Yeah.
you probably you want to talk any more about how, you know, your organization, for example, supports the reflexologists, and so people can kind of know what to maybe expect from that.
Yeah, we're a relatively new organization. Last year was our first year, and then this was our second year. And this year our plan was to really focus a lot on helping reflexologists increase their business, right? And
Like the big concern, right? Like everyone's like, how do I get more people?
right. And so I said, okay, we have some experienced people that are members and on the board too, and then we can share what we've done, you know, and do little marketing business kind of classes. And then, of course, everything changed with that. So we shifted the way we supported our membership. You know, we just happens to be here. We sent this postcard out to all of our members. You know, instead of their membership was due at the end of June, and we extended that to the end of September for everybody. Our board took the names of all our members and we called every single member just to see how they were doing, how they were coping, if there was anything we could help them with. And I personally, when I called one of the gentlemen on our list, he cried when I called. I happened to catch him on a day when he was feeling really low, having not worked, and he just split up from his partner, and he needed somebody to talk to. I happened to call, you know? So that was a big thing, doing that. We also did a Zoom all-state member call on how to reopen your clinical practice. And because here in Florida, people were starting to reopen in July and August. And because there were so many new guidelines to follow, we suggested people look at that as a kind of soft reopening and use World Reflexology Week in September as their grand opening and
Nice.
really kind of promote that. And we created a PowerPoint presentation for them that they could use during World Reflexology Week that talked about reflexology and the benefits, and then talked about that particular reflexologist, and that they could use at a live event if they were doing that, or if they just wanted to use it as through a Zoom meeting or something with clients and it more invited people. So we tried to really maintain contact, help people's spirits stay up, and then give them ways to start back up again. And it really worked because we did not lose very many members when we finally got around to doing our membership in October. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I feel like that's such a helpful resource too, to have the people, because everything's a little bit different, like whether it's from country to country, from state to state in the United States or whatever, to find that local group of reflexologists and they can understand what you're going through and support each other.
Right. And we did last year, we did some of these, what we called share meetups. And most of them got canceled this year. We had one in the fall that there was a very small group that attended. They're not really big anyway, but there are different members who want to host these in the state. And the FAR board provides the invitation template and gives them resources how to find reflexologists, not just our members, but anyone practicing reflexology in the area. And the idea is just to invite people to come and you exchange sessions, which is always a big draw. Have
Yeah.
something nice to munch on and drink, and then they just talk. They get to know each other and create a small community, because Florida's big. We can't have monthly live meetings. There's no way that's going to happen, you know. So they either have to be done online, you know, or we have these smaller regional things where people can get together. And I look forward to being able to do that again. I hosted one last year and I really loved it, you know.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's fun. I like doing that.
So do you have any other wisdom you want to share out of, again, teaching? You teach, you work with so many different reflexologists as well as your own clients. I don't know, anything else stand out to you that you want to make sure that we talk about?
Oh. Well, what comes to my mind immediately, and this is whether I'm working with clients or with students or prospective students, is I'm more interested in people identifying what it is they want in life, what makes them happy, and inspiring them to move towards it. So in my certification program, I teach lots of reflexology and marketing and communication skills and all that sort of stuff. But I am not offended if at the end of that program, that person realizes they're really meant to be a yoga instructor.
Oh.
Or they want to go into this, because that to me is more important, for people to really find their own purpose in life. And I want to inspire them to do that, you know. And with clients too, you know, it may be that reflexology isn't the right modality, or it might not be the only modality that will help them to reach their goal. So I'm not afraid to refer out or send people other directions, because ultimately I want them to be happy and successful in their lives, whatever that is, you know?
Yes. I'd say it's so timely with Christmas around the corner and thinking of Miracle on 34th Street. Like that was like their big marketing strategy was like, I will send you to whatever is best, and then people can trust you and value you. And
Right. You know, if I think about myself, Cassie, I was basically raised in a day where my options were to be a bank teller. I hated math, still do. A nurse. I faint at the sight of blood, right? Or a teacher. And I hated school. It was boring, right? Or get married. And I didn't want to do that either. And I remember going, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? If I had had parents who forced me into one of those things, my life would have been really different. I was fortunate because they allowed me to go off and explore my world, and I found my path, you know? So not everybody's had that. And it's never too late to have a happy childhood, or, you're never too late to start living your dream. So I just want to inspire people to do that, whatever it is.
Oh, I'm so glad you were able to have that experience and to be able to now to help others do the same.
Yeah.
That's great. I think we've covered most of my questions. So unless there's anything you think we forgot.
Yeah, that was great. I really enjoyed this. It was fun.
Yeah, I've enjoyed all the stuff you've had to share with people. I think they're going to take a lot of things away from it. So thank you for joining us today, Karen.
Thank you for having me, Cassie. Enjoy your weekend.
You too.
All righty.